Yep. If you hear that sound, you know what it means. And if you don't, shame on you, because that means you wasn't listening last year around this time. It's part one from the NRA annual meetings. And so we're going to have a lot of people on for the next couple of days. I can't say how many episodes, actually, because we're still putting it all together. So, but for this episode, we're going to have Kaya Jones, Lone Wolf Distributors, Stealthgear USA, Anna Taylor, and Senator Ted Cruz. Yes, all of them on this episode. So just imagine what we have coming up in the next couple of days. So, without further ado, this is Trend Chat. Welcome to another episode of Trend Chat. I'm your host, Brian Bledsoe. And if you want to connect with us, whether on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, it's all the same name, Trend Chat 24/7. And I just want to say I'm a little bit tired, I guess, from the past couple of days being at the NRA annual meetings in Dallas. Now, one thing about that is the fact that I didn't have to do any traveling. Because if you don't know, I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So that made it a whole lot easier than have to worry about, well, for me, driving my truck and just trying to find a place to park and all that. So it made things a whole lot easier in that sense. But, whether it's the NRA annual meetings or CPAC or any other event of this caliber, of this size, I put it that way, it's fun. But it's a bit exhausting, even if you're not just doing interviews like I'm trying to do. Especially if you're talking about like going something like this where the exhibit floor is so huge, where they like 15 acres of guns and gear. That's crazy, and it's kind of hard to imagine that. I've been trying to think of how to compare that to, and I failed to do that. I'm sorry, but think of 15 acres. But it is, it is quite large. Actually, I would probably have something better to compare it to in future episodes. But it is a huge floor. I walked it twice, actually, and yeah. Just going around looking at different things and getting some interviews in between. But like I said, it that can drain you. That could take a lot out of you, especially if you're just doing that. And I didn't even do all the special events, any of that. They had like concerts. They had like, breakfast events and other things. Like all I did is go to the exhibit floor. I went to the forum and saw Vice President Pence and President Trump speak. And that was it. And so I probably didn't do half of what they have scheduled for people to do. And so, but that being said, we did get a lot of people to talk with us, which was pretty cool. It's funny. A lot of times, pretty much every time I go to any of these events, I'm thinking, will I have enough for a episode? Just one. I go into it with that mindset, and then when it's over, I'm looking at it like, okay, we're going to have maybe 3 or 4 days this week. Because one thing, I try to stay somewhat current, because if I, held on to all of these interviews and played maybe one per episode, these will be going on until next month. So, and obviously, I have something in particular, for the 100th episode, which is coming up soon. If you don't know, this is episode 94. So, we're kind of preparing for that. There's going to be some new things added for the 100th episode, and from that point forward, and we're getting some interviews in particular for that episode put together. And so, and I don't want to take up too much time because, like I said, we got a lot of interviews to play for, today. But you know what? I know I mentioned that Senator Cruz is going to be on this episode, and I'm guessing you're probably thinking, well, he's going to play him last. No, I'm not. Actually, I'm going to play it right now because I want to hurry up and play it. And just in case for the people to try to like skip to the end. I'm trying to trick y'all. So come on back. But so I've been trying to speak with Senator Cruz ever since I started this podcast. And I've been talking to his people back and forth, people on the Senate side, on the campaign side, and all that. And I just kept on asking. Can I get just a couple minutes here or there, just a phone interview, something? And I know a couple of months ago, you heard Senator Cruz speaking, and in that case, it wasn't me and him. I was just part of a press gaggle, as they call it, just a group of reporters to say that. I mean, I'm not a reporter, but as media, I guess, put it that way. And I was in that group, and I was able to ask a question. So it wasn't like I was talking with him one-on-one. So that kind of don't count. I mean, I took the opportunity. I mean, when they said I could be part of that, I wasn't going to say no. But this one, it's just me and him. And so let me quit talking. Let me get to it. So here it is. All this time I've been waiting, and we finally had this opportunity. And here we are. Here is me and Senator Cruz.
Senator, you know Brian.
Sure, good to see you.
Yep, that's it right there. See? Yeah. He knew who I was. That was it. See? I just wanted to play that because did you hear it? I could play it again right quick. Hold on.
Senator, you know Brian.
Sure, good to see you.
See, he said good to see you. See? He knew me. That's what I wanted to play for y'all, because I've been working for that right there. And so, yep, there's nothing else really to play. He said he knew me. Hey, I know I put it on social media that he's going to be on. He was on. Did you just hear him? So, okay. All right. Before y'all cut off the podcast, that is not all. That is not all. And yes, he will be the last one. I just wanted to play that because I just wanted to keep that clip because he said he knew me. And I just thought that was awesome. I know some of y'all probably saying, well, what he's going to say? He's going to say no? Well, yeah, you're probably right. Maybe he doesn't remember me, but hey, let me dream for a second, okay? Just wanted to play that right quick. But yeah, he'll be on later on. So we're gonna start right now first with Randy Ataide. Actually, he's the CEO of Stealthgear USA, and so we're gonna talk about a lot of these interviews are gonna be with people talking about specific parts of the gun. And something that I was really interested in this time at the NRA annual meetings. And so we're going to talk about holsters, and then we're going to have other interviews talking about other parts as well. That's kind of what's my focus. So we're going to start off there, and then we're going to go with Kaya Jones afterwards, and we'll be moving along and get on to Senator Cruz, the real interview. All right, here we go. Hello, this is Trend Chat, and we are here at the NRA annual meetings, and we are pleased to have Randy Ataide with us, the CEO and co-owner of Stealthgear USA. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. Nice meeting you, Brian. How are you?
Doing well. So, first, tell us everything. Tell us about Stealthgear.
Stealthgear is celebrating its 5th year this year, so we're calling it 5 years of innovation. We're a Utah-based company, about 35 employees. We manufacture. We're the first company to ever develop a breathable holster. So our our featured products all have breathability, and we use a variety of American-made materials to give our customers the most flexible, durable, breathable, comfortable, and lightweight holsters.
Okay, so and is it just holsters?
Yeah, we have magazine carriers, we have utility carriers, we have hybrid products, including appendix carriers that also have a mag carrier with them, all in a monolithic single holster. We carry a variety of products, utility belts, and we've just introduced a new wallet, a very comfortable, nice wallet using similar manufacturing practices as well. Plus we have, for law enforcement, handcuff carriers and some badge holders and other things as well.
Okay, well, when it comes to holsters, why is it important to have a good holster?
Yeah, the founding of the company from my partner, Paul Lemlin, who's the founder and the chairman of the company, co-owner, was an experience that he had with about 6.5, 7 years ago when he was in the construction business. It was a warm day. He was up in Idaho in the commercial roofing industry, and his holster that he was carrying, because he worked on the wrong side of town, we'll say, on a few big projects, and he bent down, and the firearm literally slipped out of the holster because it was the holster was wet, and it was sweaty, and it was messy and slippery. And he was just sure that if he looked around, he would find breathable holsters using modern materials. Discovered that there wasn't one anywhere, and so he went to he's a builder and a tinkerer, and he went down to his basement and he built a holster for himself, and that was the beginning of Stealthgear. He didn't intend on starting a company, but a friend saw it, and another friend saw it, and then he started to build them at night with his son. And then 4 years ago, we got pretty serious about building a company out of this.
Okay, so now you said, I guess, 5 years now?
5 years, yep. The first products we put on the internet in late 2012. And really started the company in the first part of 2013. So we thought NRA was a good time to actually call it our fifth year celebration.
Okay, and have y'all been here all the time?
Yeah, we have been at NRA 3 years in a row. We've made appearances at SHOT Show since I've been here with the company over 4 years. Last year was the first year we actually had a booth earlier this year at SHOT Show, but NRA is where we really bring our large booth and have a lot of products. We release new products and new equipment and things here as well. So NRA is when you see a large amount of us here. We've got a good relationship with the NRA.
Now, the theme for the annual meetings is a show of strength for Second Amendment freedom. And I guess it's a question I've been asking everyone. How do you apply that?
Yeah, our perspective as a company is real simple. We don't sell firearms. We say, and we fully recognize and support the view of the importance of the Second Amendment, and that's inviolate. That is a fundamental right to all Americans stated. And so our position is, if you decide to carry a firearm, we want you to carry it in the safest, in the best possible way in which you can do that. And so by having comfortable, lightweight, breathable gear, we know from personal experience and from tens of thousands of customers that you're much less likely to be adjusting that, taking it, moving it. People take holsters all the time. They stick them in their glove box, underneath their seat, everywhere else. We want to create equipment that makes, if you decide to carry, that we want you to have the best gear possible, so then you're a safer, a better trained, a better equipped, ready to go user of your Second Amendment right if the event occurs.
How can people reach you online and social media and everything?
Yeah, www.stealthgearusa.com. We have very few dealers. 99% of what we sell is directly through our customer service department. or just call us or send us an email. So we have live chat. We have people monitoring that often. So you deal directly with us as the company. Just look us up on the website. Lots of information. The other thing is right now for this week, for the week of NRA, 20% off all IWB gear and 25% off all outside the waistband gear. So it's the best sale we're going to have. Got some special bundles as well. But there's always good pricing on a variety of products on our website. So just get a hold of us. www.stealthgearusa.com. Spell out Stealthgear, all one word, USA.com.
I appreciate it for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, Trend Chat fans. The Founding Project invites you to experience our latest resource to take civics to citizens, TFP's new website. Visit us at www.thefoundingproject.com. Be a part of the civics movement with The Founding Project. The Founding Project is a 501c3 education nonprofit. Join us today.
Yep, and thanks to Randy for joining us with Stealthgear. And also, he mentioned that deal he said was going on throughout the NRA annual meetings. He did tell me that it is going on this week as well. So if you're interested in Stealthgear, that deal should still be going on this week. So I just want to let you know about that. Next up, we're going to talk with Kai Jones, who is a returning guest, which is awesome to have people who I've talked to before and then come back on. And so we talked with her for a couple of minutes, and here we go. Hello, this is Trend Chat. We are pleased to have a returning guest to Trend Chat, Kai Jones. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
So, we just saw you go through a scenario as far as, I guess, being in the gas station. Tell us all about that.
Yeah, we did a scenario with NRA, and so basically they put you in a really horrible scenario, and you see how you have to get through it. And, it's at a real gas station. There's really extras and people. They give you a firearm, of course, that's not carrying live ammo on it, and you have to wear eye protection, so you're aware that you may have to be forced to protect yourself or someone else, but to try and do the right thing and don't do the hero thing and just do the best that you can. And so my first scenario was I was getting robbed. I just gave the guy the money, which is the right thing to do. Most of us see in the movies, you try to be the hero, but at the end of the day, I walked away with my life, and I didn't take his life, and that was the right thing. It's just to give the money. If they come for money, just give them the money. Second scenario was gunman came in, and he put a fellow patron on her knees and put the gun to the back of her head. At that point, I felt, because he put her in execution type of style, that she could not protect herself, and so I thought the right thing was to fire my firearm because I was hidden behind him. Of course, they walked us through what I could have done better, what did I have legal grounds to act in the manner that I did. So that's one of those scenarios that, now looking back, I don't think anyone is ever going to feel good about having to, even in a scenario, pull a firearm. But at the end of the day, these kinds of training sessions and these kinds of situational awareness programs that they put you in get you a little bit more up to speed in order to then know if you're ever put in that scenario, would you then do the right thing? So it's good to run drills like this.
I guess, do you get any sort of training beforehand as far as getting ready for it, or is it just something you just jump straight into?
We jumped straight into this. There was no, prepping for it, but I had just completed about a week and a half, 2 weeks before the NRA carry guard training, which was really more about my safety of my firearm. So I think that definitely heightened my awareness and my situational awareness and making sure to check my sights and, do a sweep, to finger off the trigger when you're done shooting. So that kind of stuff, I think, did come into play of me being better, but you're constantly learning as a gun owner.
So, tell us a little more about that training with NRA Carry Guard.
NRA Carry Guard is about 3 days of nonstop training, and you just learn from the best guys possible. They're Rangers, Green Berets, SEALs, you name it. They're America's heroes and badasses, and so they pretty much teach you with their best of their abilities to be really smart and safe. And so they drill in the basics. We did the intermediate course, which by far I don't felt that I was an intermediate shooter, but it definitely brought me back to a basic fundamental, and then gave me some extra padding to feel that much more stronger. And now each time I go into the range, or even doing dry shooting, I'm now a bit more, I think, aware and more safe.
Now, are you still with the National Diversity Coalition for Trump?
I am. Okay. I am with the Diversity Coalition for Trump.
Well, let's talk about the speech from yesterday. So.
Oh, he crushed it. Our president, he always has a lot on his mind, and he always says, how he feels. He means what he says, and he says what he means. I'm really happy that you're seeing a lot of the diverse people that he has coming around, from Pastor Scott to, Diamond and Silk speaking yesterday too. Now Kanye West is coming forward. It's important for African Americans to see that being a conservative, because the Democratic Party has just kind of made it this, you have to be black and be a Democrat. And it's like, well, no, you can be black and be a conservative. I mean, I didn't know that just because someone's skin tone made them a party. Now that's racial division right there. So to me, it's really heroic to see a lot of African Americans speaking out for themselves as an individual, which is closer to being treated equally than being pigeoned into any of these, narratives that are not true or fair to the African American community. So I'm really happy to see that you're seeing more diverse around our president, and I think we're going to only see more. I think he's going to surround himself with more and more diverse human beings, where it's going to be no doubt that he is not a racist, and he is pro-African Americans in this country, and pro-Asian Americans, and just pro-Americans,
Pro-diversity.
Pro-diversity, pro-America.
I know one thing that kind of stuck out to me is when he spoke about complacency, as far as not being complacent and coming up for these midterms and everything like that.
That's right.
Because that's the one highlight for me, because that is something that's very important for to not get complacent.
Yes, I agree. There's a chain of oppression, or they call it a circle of oppression that Dick Heller, who has been a big part of the NRA, he's done a lot of different, cases of gun ownership. He said something at a speech I was at in Delaware, and I started crying because it's so right. He's talked about, it starts with oppression. After oppression becomes freedom, and after freedom comes prosperity, and after prosperity comes complacency, and you go right back in to oppression because you allow yourself to get oppressed by becoming complacent that you think you're okay. And so we can't allow that to happen. We have to keep our voices active and stay vigilant and pray for each other and unite each other as the best ways that we can, because not only are freedoms under attack, but our president, who hasn't done anything wrong, every day he's under attack, and if you agree with him, you're under attack. So, we all have to kind of stick together and help each other out and just keep this country moving forward.
I saw something about you mentioning about what happened with the Washington Redskins cheerleaders, and so I guess kind of echo what you mentioned a couple months back about your experience.
Yeah.
So I guess tell us a little bit about that.
The cheerleaders that are coming forward talking about that they dealt with, sexual harassment, that they dealt with feeling that they were pimped out. Women in the music industry and in entertainment, we have understood that oh so well. It's kind of gross to think that this is the world we live in, but that's the world we live in. And so I think when men have good examples, you can't be a man if you haven't seen a man, And so if we have really good examples in the community, in the athletic world, in the overall spectrum, to really show young men how to treat women, and women to start to rise up and say, no, that's not okay, speak out about it. Not every situation of a guy giving a compliment, that's not abuse. We got to decipher what abuse is, and that's if you're getting physical with a woman and certain things like that. But I think if we're better to each other, we can only do better when we know better. Maya Angelou said that so many times, and she's right. God rest her soul, she was right. When we know better, we do better. So young men knowing better, young women knowing better, to hold themselves with a high regard, and young men being taught taught to honor women and treat them with value, that I think that'll help our community for sure.
So I guess the last question, the theme here has been a show of strength for Second Amendment freedom. So I just want to ask you, how do you will apply that?
Second Amendment freedom is, it protects all the other freedoms. At the end of the day, I think a lot of people don't understand that the NRA armed African Americans fighting against the KKK, and so people just assume. Now, that's not to say there aren't people that were members of one and they became a member of another party, but the root of it, the reason why we have the Second Amendment is to protect all of our freedoms, meaning that government can't just take over and we can't protect ourselves. That's actually why we're allowed to have the same kind of firearms as our military, so that we do have a fighting chance. If you only have a handgun and they have an assault rifle, it's safe to say you're not going to win that battle, right? So that's why we have an honor system of you're both allowed to fight on a fair playing ground if it ever comes to that. But I don't think it will come to that. I think as long as we keep speaking and keep sharing our values and keep learning and educating ourselves about firearms, because firearms is a lifestyle change. It is not just I got a pistol and I look cool. You got to know all of these things for it in order to be a safe gun owner. And, we know criminals don't follow the law. They never have. So more laws is not going to equate less madmen. It's just going to equate less good people that can protect themselves. And so we need to keep reminding people that this is something, in my humble opinion, is being attacked for the wrong reasons and because of lack of education. Show people the scariest firearm that you can. They don't know any better, and they're going to assume that this is really bad and all of that jazz. But if you knew that, that it's a personal choice of what firearm you choose to have, and if you're a gun owner, you need to be smart. There hasn't been an NRA member that's done a mass shooting. These mass shootings are done by people who don't know about firearms, because if they did, they would honor it. They would really honor it, and you would know that you don't point that at anything you're not willing to kill or destroy. You do not point your firearm at people. It is only meant for safety. And so I feel that our Second Amendment, for me, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So I try my hardest to just keep telling that to young women who are raped every day. They're attacked every day. Young moms who are single moms are attacked. How can we make women feel more empowered? Be a gun owner. Be a smart gun owner.
So what you have coming up, and everything going on?
Well, we're just, every day is a new journey and a new thing. We're doing some different tapings for Fox while I was here, also for NRA. So I say I work for the Lord and wherever He sends me. And so my job is just to keep in prayer and keep making music, keep using my voice to help advocate and bring awareness to things that I'm passionate about, that I think other Americans are passionate about. I respect and love our military, I respect and love our non-military, our everyday average Americans, and I respect and care for our administration and president. So as long as I can keep preaching the good message of what I think it's about and keeping everyone humble and aware, that's what I'm going to use my voice for right now. I have a song that's out with Jason Crabb that was produced by Jada Marcus called Let It Be Love. That just came out, and working on new music and doing more commentary, and hopefully we'll be kicking butt soon with the National Diversity Coalition, because we got a lot of work to do for the inner cities and the Urban Revitalization Coalition, both with Pastor Scott. So I'm very excited about that.
All right, thanks so much for your time. Well, also, if anybody want to get in touch with you on social media,
at Kaya Jones, go to KAYAJones.com or at Kaya Jones on Twitter, at Kaya Jones on Insta, or Kaya's Music on Facebook, and come and check me out.
All right, thanks so much for your time.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep, and thanks to Kaya for joining us again. It's always a good conversation, talking with her. And so we're going to play 2 back-to-back, and then after that we'll get into the real interview with Senator Cruz. So first up will be Dan Shepard with Lone Wolf Distributors and Anna Taylor with Dean Adams LLC. So like I said, you're not going to hear me in between these two, so we can get some time, make sure everything's ready for when I play Senator Cruz's interview. So we're going to hear another word from our friends with the Founding Project and into those interviews.
Hello, Trend Chat listeners. If you like the Founding Project's Civics Education video series, Civics for All Ages, and our educational meme series, we think you will love our new website. Join us at thefoundingproject.com and be a part of the civics movement. The Founding Project is a 501c3 education nonprofit. Please join us today.
Hello, this is Trent Chat, and we're here with Dan Shepard with Lone Wolf Distributors. Now, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
So, I wanted to talk with you in particular because I've noticed here that you basically have specified where it's down to firing pins, triggers, and in particular, I saw firing pins. So, what's the difference in having just a factory firing pin as opposed to, as I see here, a lightweight or a titanium?
That's actually a very good question. And the first thing that I'll say is when or if you do purchase a Glock, the number one thing that I highly recommend is, number one, make sure there's no ammunition around, dry fire it, get a good feel for the gun. Then take it on out and shoot it. Where our company strives for is we listen to the customers. So after you've shot it, the first question that I'm going to say is, what don't you like about the gun? And if they're coming from a 1911 shooter or any of them that is a non-striker fired shooter, they're immediately going to say the trigger. Now, when it comes to the trigger, I have a lot of options. Most of them say, I want it lighter, I want it crisper, I want it better feeling. And so we have options for you. Number one, we'll start out with the connector. There's 3 different types of connectors, ranging from a 3.5, a 5, and an 8.
Well, before we go any further, so I guess explain what is the connector.
The disconnector is actually going to tell you how heavy the trigger pull is before the weapon actually fires. So immediately, the majority of all the Glocks out there right now are coming in between 4 and 5 pounds. So naturally, if they want a lighter connector, they're going to say, I want the 3.5 pound connector. Our 3.5 pound connector is really good, and most are satisfied with it. Until you maybe get into a recreational shooting, somebody that wants to shoot with his friends, or a competition shooter, and they say, I want to take it to the next level. Taking it to the next level, you have a multitude of options. That's where our website and reading the description really comes in handy. You happen to mention firing pins. We have our own stock firing pins. We have steel lightweight firing pins, and we also have titanium firing pins. The background behind that is your firing pin weighs so much. Therefore, you should have a specific firing pin spring to make sure that when the firing pin is released, it ignites the primer with a specific contact pressure. Ergo, the gun goes bang. If you go to a lighter steel firing pin, you can go to a lighter firing pin spring. If you go to a titanium, which is the lightest that you can go to, then you can go to even lighter firing pin spring, therefore making your trigger lighter. Everybody in the Glock industry knows, and some may not, that the trigger itself, therefore we carry adjustable triggers. They think that is what makes the trigger lighter. The adjustability on the trigger will now determine where you want the placement of the trigger to be. On a striker-fired gun, you have a long-distance trigger travel. There's nothing you can do about it. With the Glock, as you're pulling the trigger, you're deactivating the safety features, you're cocking the weapon, and then you're firing it. With an adjustable trigger, you have the options to place that trigger where you want it, as long as you don't supersede the safety features.
So with all of that, how much of a difference between that specification of all of that compared to if you just had a factory of all of that? I'm thinking seconds, but I'm guessing we're talking what, milliseconds. I'm guessing of a difference as far as.
It's a hard answer. That's a hard one to actually answer because it's perceived by the mind of the shooter. So you're different, I'm different. Everybody has a different answer of what is the best weight. We offer a factory weight firing pin spring, we offer a lightweight, and we also offer a midweight. Now, depending on those 3 is a kit. and we say, here's a firing pin, or here's a lightweight firing pin, here's a titanium. And the reason why we offer those 3 is because you're going to try each 3, and then you're going to say, this is the best one for me. And that's where we've learned from our customers. As far as when we offer a kit, normally we offer a few options. So you can say, no, this one works for me, or that one works for me, or I'm kind of in the middle, and I'm going to shoot it for a little bit longer, and I'm going to be the judge for that. With a Glock, it's sometimes a little bit different because you're talking about a polymer-based lower receiver. You're talking about an upper. You got a whole bunch of internal parts, not as much as 1911, but you still have a few parts that are higher and lower tolerance measurements. So each gun is going to be a little bit different. But based off of the description, that if you call in or you send an email and say, this is the direction that I want to go, what are my options? That's really where we strive, because we say, okay, here's the direction, and let's start narrowing down the gate, and this is exactly where you want to go.
Okay, so is it just specifically with Glocks, or is there any other manufacturers?
We are slowly starting to branch out, and most of them are with barrels and barrel accessories, because there's a lot of gun manufacturers that don't offer the type of accessories as we have progressed the Glock industry. So you will start seeing threaded barrels, ported barrels, conversion barrels we offer M&P, we offer Shield, we have Browning High Power, we will be launching Beretta soon. So in the time, we are going to be making more, and actually contact us and let us know, I have this gun and I would like to see this. That doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight, but we do like to listen to our customers.
So if anyone wants to know more about Lone Wolf, where do they go?
They go to our website, lonewolfdisc.com. They can call us, 208-448-0600, or we have online chat forum as well.
Any social media?
Social media there is Glock Talk that I do know is a good one. Facebook, I think they're active, but I'm the R&D guy, so I build this stuff. I really can't answer that question. I'm sure as long as you say Lone Wolf Distributors or Lone Wolf and Glock Parts, you're going to find us no matter what.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Hello, this is Trend Chat here at the NRA annual meetings in 2018, and we're here with Anna Taylor. She's the founder and CEO of Dene Adams LLC. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing well. First I want to ask you about Dene Adams. Just tell us everything about it.
So about 5 years ago, I got my concealed carry permit. I couldn't find a way to carry, and I wasn't real comfortable with my firearm. So I kind of began a pursuit of solving that problem, providing holsters not only for myself, but holsters that I needed, and providing those to women, and implementing training and everything else that into the design, so that they're tactically sound and comfortable without having to change your wardrobe.
Okay. Well, I just saw that you were doing a scenario, so I don't know exactly what you were doing. So what was all that about?
So a couple weeks ago, I went through the NRA Carry Guard course, and then earlier this week, we arrived a little bit early for NRA show, and we went through a scenario at a gas station where there was an armed robbery, and they had given us a UTM gun, which doesn't actually fire, so it's a fake gun, and I used my training to spring into action and stop that threat.
Okay, and I guess with the training and everything, how did it prepare you for that particular scenario when it happened?
Well, it had a lot of training beforehand, but it was a great review for a lot of things tactically, and then it really gave me a refresher and some good information as far as the legal things to think about in a self-defense scenario. For example, what I say on the 911 call. So there were a lot of things from that class that helped prepare me for that call.
Okay, and I guess if anyone wants to contact you as far as want to know anything more about Dene Adams?
Sure, yeah, they can follow us on Facebook and Instagram, or go to deneadams.com, DENEADAMS.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep, and thanks to Anna and Dan for joining us. And also, when I was just mentioning about Kaya earlier, I also thank her for doing something else for the podcast, which is this.
Hey, what's up? This is Kaya Jones, and you're listening to me here at Trend Chat.
Yep. So I appreciate that. I asked her, would she, say that where I can play that sometimes, in the middle, just because. And she wasn't the only one who did that for me, which I'll play more of those in the next upcoming episodes. So you'll hear some of those here and there. So the time is here. We're going to play our interview with Senator Cruz, and like I said, it's something that I have been trying to achieve all this time, and so I'm just glad that he gave me a couple of minutes to speak with him, and so I'm not going to hold it up any longer. We're going to hear a word from about the politics, and from there we'll go straight into our interview with Senator Cruz. Hello, this is Brian Bledsoe, host of Trend Chat, also contributor at Politichicks.com. Here to tell you about the new book called Politichicks, A Clarion Call to Political Activism, with over 300 pages from contributors like myself, talking about topics such as education, social issues, healthcare, the Second Amendment, and of course, activism. I encourage you all to check it out at Politichicks.com, and is also available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
This is Trend Chat at the NRA annual meetings, and we're very pleased to have Senator Ted Cruz with us. How you doing?
I'm doing terrific. How are you doing?
Well, first off, it was a great speech. And just wanted to ask, first, how's the campaign going?
It's going very well. We're seeing tremendous energy across the state. These are volatile times. The far left, they're energized, they're angry, they hate the president. And so I've got a liberal Democrat running against me, Congressman Beto O'Rourke, who's running far, far left. He's advocating higher taxes, more regulations, open borders. He's advocating aggressive gun control and impeaching the president. And he's raising more money than any Democrat in the entire country. But the good news is there are more conservatives in Texas than liberals. So if we turn Texans out, we'll have a good election.
I guess the news a little bit is that that President Trump, I guess, kind of reiterated his endorsement of you. So how's that?
Very grateful to have the president's support, and I think we're getting an enormous amount accomplished over the last year and a half with tax reform, regulatory reform, repealing the Obamacare individual mandate, confirming strong judges, rebuilding the military. We're getting a lot done, and we got a lot more we need to do together.
I know one of the things that he mentioned is as far as not being complacent, and that's definitely true. So I guess I want to ask you about that.
No, I very much agree that our biggest challenge is complacency. If turnout will decide this election, we know we're going to see record-shattering Democratic turnout. We've got to make sure conservatives show up and vote. If we do that, we'll have a good election all across the country.
And so the theme of, I guess, the annual meetings is a show of strength for Second Amendment freedom. I just want to ask you, how do we all apply that?
Well, freedom doesn't defend itself. You've got to stand up and defend it, particularly when we're seeing a concerted media effort to come after the Second Amendment to push gun control. My opponent in the Senate race, Democratic Congressman Beto O'Rourke, tweeted a few weeks back how proud he was that he has an F rating from the NRA. Not a D minus, not a D, an F. I promptly retweeted it. I said, look, elections are about choices, and if you want a big government, gun-grabbing liberal, well, the Democrats have given you one. But if you want someone who will fight to defend your freedom and defend the Bill of Rights each and every day, you got that choice as well.
Thank you so much for your time.
Great to see you.
Yep, and there it is. So, if you notice, you probably notice a couple of things. Why he sure is talking fast, and two, kind of sounds like he's moving or running in a way. That's because, one, we were walking, and I guess you might notice how it went from one sound and sound like we was like an echo. But so we were walking and talking. So, but hey, that's the opportunity I had. So I said, okay, I'll do it, whatever. And so, yeah, I appreciate Senator for joining us and everyone else. And that's it. And we'll be back tomorrow with, I can't even mention who, because we're still figuring out, making sure everything goes, can fit on each episode like we're doing right now. We're at the limit for this one, mainly because I talk too much, but, whatever. It is my show. So like I said, until what? Well, tomorrow. I'm about to say something else. Say Thursday or something. But yeah, until tomorrow, we'll chat with you later.